City to city, state to state, worldwide, we are in the zone, and this is the network.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to episode 44 Girl Chat Sports. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Stephanie.
Welcome back, you guys. It seems like we don't really get to see each other or hang out and see you guys since we are bi-weekly now, so that means every other Wednesday we'll be joining with you. Today we've got a great guest coming up. Since it is March Madness, I know everybody's in there thrilled. Their brackets are probably going crazy. We've got Dedan Thomas from, he was a former UNLV alumni, men's basketball, so he was a point guard for the team right around, I think, like 91 through 94. He'll be joining us in the second half of the show, so please stay tuned for that. It's March Madness. What more can you say? My brackets, I'd say I had like 3 or 4 of them. They're probably all busted by now.
As is everyone's.
My last hope of faith is North Carolina for the men. So with that being said, in case you haven't known by now, Tom Brady's jersey has been found.
Man, this guy got away with stealing all kinds of memorabilia in the last 3 years.
What I don't get, though, is how does Tom Brady... Was it just me that didn't know that Tom Brady lost the first jersey from Super Bowl 49?
I had no idea.
I mean, how do you lose a jersey to start with in 49 and nobody hears about it, and then 2 years later you lose another jersey and now we hear about it?
You would think that he would put it somewhere in safekeeping if it happened before.
You would think. I mean, but then this guy, maybe he's a professional. I mean, clearly he's a professional hijacker because he apparently had Von Miller's helmet and a bunch of other things that he's had like over the years, like
Kurt Warner's jersey that he had Kurt Warner sign and he was going to sell back to him.
Wow. I can't even, this guy's got some cojones, for real. And the fact that they had this whole sting operation, I don't even want to know how much overtime money was paid to detectives or whatever else, private investigators, to find this stuff. Because literally, do you know how many missing children there are right now in the States? How many missing children are going every day that aren't getting found, but yet Tom Brady's football jerseys are now safe?
Man, well, he's a dumb criminal because he didn't sell any of that and got busted.
Or he's a smart criminal because had he sold it, he might have been found out sooner. I don't know. Well, anyways, for all you Patriot fans out there, your beloved Tom Brady now has a Super Bowl jersey, and I'm sure Gisele's wearing it around the house right now. But in other football news, because it's not just about TB, thank God, there's free agency, and it's been going kind of crazy. So we've been gone for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, we've got Martellus Bennett. He was the tight end for the Patriots. He's now with the Packers. That's going to be interesting because, you know, Martellus's brother plays for Seattle, and now you've got the Packers and the Seahawks. So they're going to be going at it during this season, which should be interesting. Brandon Cooks, the wide receiver for the Saints, got traded over to the Patriots for a first-round pick. That's big for the Patriots because now there's some actually well-known wide receivers, some options for Tom Brady, because clearly he didn't really have big names before, and now he's got a little extra help there. Robert Turbin signs the Colts. Dante Hightower with the Patriots. Latavius Murray, big news here. So the running back from the Raiders is now with the Vikings. And what does that mean for Mr. Adrian Peterson? Well, it means he no longer has a job with the Vikings. He has not been picked up yet. He did get scouted by a bunch of teams, including Seattle as one. However, Seattle went a different way, and we'll get back to that in 1 second. So beyond Latavius, we got Jared Cook as a tight end for the Packers, who signed with the Raiders, which is huge because Derek Carr doesn't really have a tight end. Derek Carr now has a tight end.
Wow.
So our Las Vegas Raiders are coming around. What else? Jason Pierre-Paul, he re-signed with the Giants for a 4-year deal, $62 million. And we've got Geno Smith, who rarely played for the Jets, but will be signing with the Giants, a little backup action for Manning. What I thought was hilarious, Josh McCown, the quarterback from the Browns, I think he's like a 12 or 14-year veteran. He's now with the Jets for a year. And my favorite, well, not my favorite, but one of my favorite funnies is linebacker Manti Te'o, who was with the Chargers. We all know him because of his fake girlfriend or imaginary girlfriend. Well, he signed with the Saints, and if you know New Orleans and New Orleans history, they have a lot of ghosts and spirits, which just seems so happened. Maybe his girlfriend will be there
At one of the games.
At one of the games, and we'll be able to, hang out with his girlfriend. I mean, she'll fit right at home there, basically, is what we're saying.
The Cowboys re-signed backup quarterback Kellen Moore. I can't even say it without laughing.
Well, hey, I mean, everybody needs a backup, including Dak, right?
Yeah, I guess we needed somebody since Romo's still not sure what he's going to do.
Here's the deal. Romo's supposed to be leaving. I mean, but no one's picked him up. Here, it's free agency right now, which means if you're a free agent or if you're out on the chopping block or able to be picked up or traded, now is the time. And that time is still here and nothing's happened.
He's due $14 million and could count as a $24 million cap hit for us if he stays on the roster. That's 14.6 of our team's payroll. So we need to find
you may need that
place
elsewhere
for him.
Oh man! Well, you guys also re-signed Terrance Williams, who's wide receiver there. He's actually doing pretty good for you guys. So he'll have a 4-year deal worth $17 million. And I apologize, my allergies. If you've seen Vegas weather or know about Vegas around this time, it's major pollen, and I'm sniffling, and I apologize. My allergy pills suck right now.
I feel like we lost a few decent players actually too, because Lance Dunbar went to the Rams, 1 year, $3 million. Brandon Carr, 4 years, signed to the Ravens for $23 million. Morris Claiborne signed for a 1-year deal, $5 million with the Jets. And Barry Church, he went to, I don't remember, but $26 million.
Wow.
4 years.
In some other positive news, the Seahawks have made a couple good moves. One of them, including Eddie Lacy, has been signed to the Seahawks for 1 year, $5.5 million, with, get this, all you women out there, I swear to God if I had this deal, a $385,000 weight bonus.
Wow.
Hey, Eddie, if you want to lose, 20 to 27 pounds, we'll give you an extra $385,000.
Wow.
I would lose
motivation.
10 pounds for 1,000 right now. How about that? So, Seattle Seahawks.
Call me.
Pete, if you're out there, I mean, I could use a little extra, motivation at the gym. I mean, my trainer's already kicking my ass sometimes, and that's who our commercial break is from over at Naked Fitness. But, man, if I could get a couple thousand behind that, I mean, I think my motivation would be a lot easier. I probably wouldn't have grubbed so hard like I did in Napa this weekend. Talk about wines and cheeses. So yeah, Seahawks. We signed Eddie Lacy. I don't think he's really that big. You saw pictures of him welcoming, "Hey, Seahawks fans, can't wait to play for you, blah, 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 welcome 12s. He doesn't look that big. I mean, people think, oh my God, Eddie Lacy is so fat. No, it's not really. I even had my own tweet about it, maybe he'll go vegan. Just don't eat the Dick's burgers. They're going to get you. So I think he's slimmer than he supposedly is, and I think that might be a ploy for Packers fans to feel better about losing him because he's not that big. I don't know. I think he's still pretty good. I mean, he's only 27 still, too, so he's got some years ahead of him. If he does well for us in that year, hopefully we'll re-sign him. I think he'll be a great veteran role model for Rawls, Price as well. We also re-signed Luke Wilson, which is great. He's one of our tight ends. And we also re-signed Deshaun Sheed. And we re-signed Nico Thorpe. There was a little interesting tidbit, though, that the Seahawks were open to trading Richard Sherman if there was a serious offer.
To the Cowboys.
No, and no. What the hell? Who says that kind of stuff? Who says, yeah, we're open to trading Richard Sherman? I'm sure in all general football terms, you're open to trading anybody. I'm sure the Cowboys at some point would even be open to trading Dak Prescott if the offer was serious and maybe you were getting some crazy people back in return. But who does that? No, we don't want to get rid of Richard Sherman, okay? We like him. We like his mouth. We like whatever he's talking shit about. So, no, I won't let that happen. But there was a little bit of an interesting discussion in regards to one of the rule changes regarding field goals, and Bobby Wagner and Cam Chancellor weren't too happy about it. It's basically in regards to being able to jump over your defensive line to block a field goal, which both of them have done a couple of times throughout the season. So that would obviously hurt them on special teams, but who knows what happens. Hopefully it doesn't, because I like seeing those guys jump. That's pretty athletic to be able to jump and block a field goal kick. Come on. Yeah. Anywho. Oh, DeMarcus Ware retired. That's one of your guys. Well, previously.
12 years, 9 Pro Bowls. Well, he got his ring with the Broncos, so.
Well, he had to leave the Cowboys for that.
I think he only played 10 games this last season and recorded just 15 tackles and 4 sacks. So I think it was time. I think he was smart to realize that it's pretty much done.
Yeah, that's true. Also, so Darrelle Revis, Mr. Revis Island, who had all these, pending allegations from this incident back in Pittsburgh last month, all charges dismissed.
Cleared.
How much money do you think that took?
I don't know. They said that, the voice that they heard on the video didn't sound like him, and that guy was claiming to have knocked people out. I guess the story is that he was being attacked by some people, and then his buddy came from down the road somewhere and handled the business.
Wow.
He got off.
I don't know. It just seems so strange. Like, they were so adamant about these charges, and the next thing you know, they're all gone. Whoosh, under the table, under the rug.
I hear the latest about Ezekiel Elliott.
Please tell me about Mr. Abs.
Oh, man. So I guess that they were at a St. Patrick's Day parade, and he was partying with some ladies who were exposing themselves by themselves anyway, but he
was on the rooftop outside of so he was visible to many people. Let's
in
throw
public
that in
at the parade.
Right.
She was exposing herself multiple times. He felt the need to help her
expose
with that. But apparently, they were also saying, she was part of his party, and she went down to Miami with him, and you heard about him going on a yacht in the Coast Guard, boarding their yacht in Miami.
So is he one of his girls, maybe?
They were saying that he had some sort of relationship with her. Not that I think that justifies at all, doing anything like that. But they were saying
well, he has to realize at this point in his life and career that social media is everywhere. Thank God it wasn't like this when I was in college, because Lord knows that's a whole other story. All I can say, and I'm sure anybody my age, if not older or a little bit younger as well, we can all thank God that social media was not huge when we were growing up, because we would all be in jail, locked up, or I don't know.
He's too famous to be doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, that everybody has their phone out and they're taking pictures. How are you with your hand on some woman's chest? That just... No, Ezekiel, no. No, Zeke. Bad boy. Although you can come touch me. I'm just kidding. Okay, we're making light of it only because I can be funny sometimes to myself.
In other news, the NFL is adding a second female official.
Yes.
Terry Valenti is going to work, or I guess they haven't finalized it yet, but she's going to work as an instant replay official next season.
That's awesome. The more that I watch sports, and right now it's March Madness, so the more I watch basketball and seeing women that are officiating or on the sidelines or coaching, it just, you just know, as a kid when I was growing up, I don't think I felt that I was able to do those things as a kid. Whereas now these girls are able to grow up and go, oh my God, I can do all of that.
It's amazing that there's so many women involved with sports nowadays.
Girl power. And our last little NFL tidbit. So next week is a big day. The Raiders, the voting is going to happen to see, or it most likely will happen to see, if we're going to be able to have the Raiders relocated to Las Vegas.
I believe it's going to happen.
We think it's going to happen. It's the Raiders, it's Vegas. It seems like everybody's down for it. Bank of America's in, the Raiders management's in, and ownership is in. All we need is the owners and the league. The meeting in Phoenix next week So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Stay posted, because Monday night Vegas will be partying when it is announced.
Well, and there's a big thing is that Marshawn Lynch may come back to play for his hometown. How amazing would that be? Maybe he may not be here for the 3 years when they actually get to Vegas, because supposedly the stadium and everything will be ready until 2020. But that would definitely be a reason for those angry fans in Oakland that are having their team move in the next 2 or 3 years to come to games.
True.
I would go see Marshawn. Marshawn may be the only Seahawk jersey outside of Seattle that I may own, if it's a Raiders jersey.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So anyways, it's March Madness. It's going crazy. I'm sure, like me, you guys, your brackets are probably busted. I'm hanging on to one thread of North Carolina, and Villanova lost this weekend to Wisconsin, major upset. Michigan beat Louisville. Both Louisville and Villanova were my final four on like 3 or 4 of my brackets. So that just screwed me over.
Duke losing.
Duke lost, which I love because I've always hated Duke. I can't help that. They lost. Xavier beats Maryland. Then Xavier goes and beats Florida State. I mean, what kind of stuff is going on here? Middle Tennessee originally had beat Minnesota in the first round. They ended up losing to Butler in the second round. However, Middle Tennessee, really? I mean, it's just crazy how things are happening. It's amazing how things are going on. So what we've got coming up is we've got the men's Sweet 16. We've got Michigan playing Oregon, West Virginia playing Gonzaga, Purdue and Kansas, Xavier and Arizona, Butler and UNC, South Carolina and Baylor, UCLA and Kentucky, and Wisconsin and Florida. Don't forget the women's Sweet 16 as well. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Stanford and Texas, Mississippi State and Washington, Baylor and Louisville, Maryland and Oregon, UConn and UCLA, South Carolina and Quinnipiac, which is also a Connecticut team I learned, as well as Oregon over Florida State. And a huge congratulations to the girls, Washington Huskies. They're back in the Sweet 16. Kelsey Plum passes Jackie Stiles, sets a new single scoring record, including March Madness, she has 1,080 points, beating out Jackie Stiles, who had 1,062, and we're not done yet. She's got another game coming up on Friday, so we'll see how that goes.
Exciting.
We'll be right back with our guest, Dedan Thomas, former UNLV point guard. Catch you guys in a sec.
Yo, what's good with it? It's Mr. Mike T, owner and founder of Naked Athletics Fitness Co. You say naked, I say why not? We going for muscle tone, muscle gains, diet plans, nutrition plans, any and everything to get you where you want to go physically and mentally. You can look us up at nakedathleticfitness.com, or you can reach me personally at 929-8791, or you can follow me, and that's on IG at Naked Athletics with an X, not a C, _ fitness team, or even Facebook at MZSTAMYK, and that's Mr. Mike. So contact me today so we can get you going. And remember, nobody stops you but you. And once again, that's 702-929-8791 or nakedathleticfitness.com. Contact me today. Let's get you going. Nobody stops you but you.
All right, welcome back to Girl Chat Sports. We are now live, well, not live recorded, but we are with Dedan Thomas from the UNLV. I apologize. I think I butchered your name to begin with in the beginning of the show, so I will slap myself on the hand now for punishment. Welcome to the show. We are thrilled to have you. I think it worked out perfectly. You know, obviously we're in March Madness. You having been, a great college athlete, especially for our local team here at UNLV, the Running Rebels. I mean, give us a little rundown. When exactly did you play for the team? How was it playing for the great Jerry Tarkanian? I mean, give us a little bio about you.
Well, I'm from California. I came here in 1991 to play for UNLV. I ended up being here 2 years with Coach Tarkanian, and then I was here for 2 years with Coach Massimino. Had a really good career, great experience. Had a lot of fun playing college basketball, and went overseas and played for a little while in Japan, came back here, started a couple businesses up, and currently we have an AAU boys and girls program. The Las Vegas Storm is the girls program, and WestCoast Rebels or WestCoast Basketball is the boys program. We've had our boys program for going on 10 years now, and we've had our girls program for 2 years now. So we just rolling right along, trying to make these kids better and get some kids some scholarships to
I heard
go
that.
to college.
What age groups are you working with?
We have from 6 years old to 17.
Oh, wow.
All over the
Everything.
place. All over the place.
Yeah, we have everything.
So real quick on the college, you playing for UNLV. I mean, I can only imagine how it was me first moving to Vegas when I just got out of college. But how do you even focus on school and playing when you're in Las Vegas? I mean, it's the city of sin, right?
Well, well, we were always told to stay off of the Strip, and,
Right.
That didn't always happen the right way, but for the most part, you know, we stayed around the school and kind of tried to keep our noses clean and stay out of trouble. But it was a good experience. You know, it was a good experience. I was here, and when I was here, it was a great time to be a UNLV running Rebel.
Oh yeah.
Playing for Coach Tarkanian, and all of the accolades he's gotten over the years. Just a great experience, a great coach, really good mentor for young men back in the day. It was just a really good experience.
Do you still hold the record for 5th in career assists and 8th in career steals?
Something like that, like 5th career, and well, yeah, maybe like 7th or 8th, something like that. I'm still holding on to my little couple records I have there. Yeah.
I love it.
You be throwing in the kids' faces at practice?
Every now and then, especially my 5th grader when we're playing 1-on-1.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh my God, I love it. Well, you said you had to stay off the Strip, but what people don't realize is that UNLV's campus is literally like one major, huge block away from the Strip. So technically, it wouldn't have been too hard to get to the Strip. It wasn't like you guys were like 30 miles away or something.
No, you know what? We would go hang out at our old spot was this place called Slots of Fun. I don't even know if that place.
Oh, I remember Slots of Fun when I first moved here, but that was like 2002, I think. But they was still there then. Yeah, Slots of Fun was. They had like the $1 tables, and I think they had like the hot dogs and the beer for $1 or something.
Back then, it was 50-cent Heineken.
Okay, maybe we're both too old now, because now it's not even existent. Now it's like the city center or something.
Exactly. But no, it was fun. It was really fun. I was there with Anderson Hunt, Greg Anthony, Larry Johnson, Everett Gray, Dexter Boney. We had a really good group. We had some great coaches, and it was just a really, really fun time.
Well, and that was like the best time for UNLV basketball, really. I mean, it was like one of the best, groups of years for the program. It basically put UNLV on the map, I think.
Yes, it was. It was crazy. That's all I can say. It was crazy. We were like superstars, and you miss it and you want it back. And
it's funny.
We're nowhere near being where we were before, but
right.
Yeah. I think the coach over there will get it done.
Yeah. Well, the girls are doing. I mean, the girls have been doing all right. I mean, I know they lost in the NIT, but they've been doing a little bit better than the guys lately. So I guess we'll give it to them for a little bit.
You know what? And I'm excited about that. Because I'm a girls' high school basketball coach.
Oh yeah. Oh good. So, yeah.
I'm excited about that, and I'm looking forward to some of our girls getting the chance to play over at UNLV.
Oh, that's awesome. Funny, we were talking about, the good old days in college and stuff. Me and Steph had just talked a little bit about Ezekiel Elliott and some of the stuff he got into during St. Patrick's Day and, being caught on camera during certain things. Like, I don't know about you, which I just told Steph and the rest of the guys in the earlier in the podcast, is that I'm glad social media wasn't around when I was in college. I mean, there's some plus sides to it, and I think we all see that, and we'll get to the LaVar Ball and social media with the kids and everything and their, publicity that way. But in regards to the things that you were doing that maybe everybody shouldn't have been seeing, I mean, nowadays you're in the limelight. Everything's being recorded, snapped, Instagrammed, Facebook Live. I mean, you can't live that stuff. You can't delete it. You can't erase it. It's there.
It's unreal right now. It's unreal. And playing with some of the guys I play with, like I play with J.R. Ryder, who's my roommate.
Wow.
And J.R. didn't always do the right thing.
which kind of followed him into the league as well, yeah.
So look, with that being said, I didn't always do the right things, but I really tried to do the right things. But I couldn't imagine growing up in this era and playing in this era. It's the game has absolutely changed, and there's pluses and there's minuses.
Right.
But I'd have to say there's a lot more minuses than pluses when it comes to social media and sports and all of that. I mean, there's a ton. There's a ton. It's a whole nother education.
Is that something that maybe you talk to the kids about in your AAU programs, like in regards to maybe just stuff, not just on the court, maybe some stuff off the court as well?
Absolutely, because I've seen kids little scholarships over the social media pages, and we go through that maybe about 4 or 5 times a year, especially with my 15, 16s, and 17U kids, because those are the main ones getting recruited. Right. But when you have social media pages, and once you press that send button, I mean, you can't bring it back. So you can't bring it back. It's out there. It's in the atmosphere, and somebody's going to see it somewhere. So you have to address that with your kids, because if you don't, kids will lose scholarships. They'll get in trouble, and I mean, kids are kids. They're going to do some stuff that's not too smart at times. But you just have to be aware, and you just have to keep them aware.
Well, speaking of sports and kids, we can just cut to the chase. There's our huge story right now is about Mr. LaVar Ball and his 3 children. Of course, the most Lonzo Ball, who's a UCLA star, and they're currently in the Sweet 16. You're a father of boys. They also are in athletics, not of course their age yet, but what's kind of your stance so far on this whole LaVar Ball situation? Or do you have an opinion, I guess?
Yes, of course I do. I mean, I'm a dad with 4 boys, and just let me first say this. The older son at UCLA,
yeah, Lonzo,
he's really, really, really good.
Right.
He's really good. And when I first heard about him, and I heard the comparisons to Jason Kidd. Of course, me, being a Jason Kidd fan, played against him in high school and in college and all of that. I said, no way. But when I first saw him, I said, oh, my God, this kid's really good.
Right.
But with that being said, let's just go to the dad real quick. You just put added weight on your kid when you get in front of a microphone, and then you kind of just pop off and say whatever comes to your mind. Because some of the stuff he says is just absolutely outlandish. But on the other hand, people are talking about him all over the place. So he's relevant.
All day.
He's making himself relevant. And, he's a story. He's a story. And people like a good train wreck. And, I mean, he can be a train wreck, but this kid can really play. Lonzo Ball's really good. He's one of the best guards to come out in the past 10, 15 years. He's really good. He can really play.
And he's 6'6". I mean, he's 6'6" with some of the handles like Jason Kidd, which is amazing because Jason Kidd wasn't 6'6".
Exactly.
Yeah, he's definitely got talent. I mean, I will say this: when I first read about or heard about Lonzo Ball, I was kind of like, this guy. I mean, even my dad was loud and always spoke his mind in regards to sports, were the first one yelling and stuff. But it's kind of like he pinpointed it and tried to pick people's buttons and push people's buttons. And the thing is, I think he's almost studied it now. It's almost like a science to him. Like I like to think of him as Kris Kardashian. He's basically taken what's out there and just wrapped it around and used it to his advantage. I mean, like you said, he's got the big baller brand that he has for the boys. He's got them all at UCLA. They're all gonna be having free educations, which I know is another topic in regards to athletes and college athletes and sports and pay. But I mean, and unfortunately, he's brought these kids up. Like he even mentioned in an article that look at Conor McGregor. He's talking all this smack and bringing out, but basically he's talking his way into this gazillion-dollar boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. He's about to get paid. Basically, LaVar Ball is out here talking crazy smack to Charles Barkley, even got LeBron James in it, and now is creating even more of a buzz. I mean, his kids have 1 million followers on social networks.
But the difference is Conor McGregor has to go out there and fight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's the difference. And we haven't heard Lonzo Ball address the situation yet. But at the end of the day, he's putting all that added pressure on his kid, and I'd like to know how he handles that.
Yeah. And so far,
it could be a lot.
Right. And that's one thing I would want to know, too, is how does he handle it? And my thing is, if dad's always been like this and you're used to it, like, I'm sure you could just kind of brush it off and that's just dad. But at some point, when does all the extra attention on the news network, social media, everywhere you turn, you're hearing your dad's name, how much more of that is going to be bothersome for you when it comes down to it? And then let's say you get into the league this coming year, you get into the league, how much are these players going to be pushing back on you now?
Melissa, they're going to shut that down right away. They're going to shut that down with a $100,000 fine every time your dad says something. That's how right away.
It's better that he's
shut that out. Right away.
Yeah, it's better that he start making that money now to pay for those fines for later, I guess.
That's exactly right, but that's how they'll stop it. They'll go to him one time and say, if you don't shut your dad up, we're going to fine you. And that's it. That's how they'll take care of it. In college, there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. But when you get to the pros and you sign your name on that dotted line, you have to do what they say and you have to abide by their rules. And I'm sure controlling your dad that pops off at every chance he gets, that'll control it. They're going to hit you in the wallet. That's what they'll do.
Right. And if not, somebody going to hit you on the court. It's been a little bit more aggressive these days, too, I've noticed. There's a lot more fines for these fights that are happening up on court. So I'm sure there's a couple guys that wouldn't mind taking a hit or two with him.
Yeah, so that whole situation. And I saw something earlier today where, I don't know if he said something about LeBron James' son or something happened, but this stuff is getting a little out of hand, I'd say.
He basically, he had told some news reporter in regards to that, it's going to be a lot harder for LeBron to take care of his kids. Like his kids, like LaVar's kids are already set up because, he's doing it this certain way. Whereas LeBron's kids have to follow in LeBron's footsteps. They're not going to be able to make those same kind of, impact, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, when you start talking about people's kids, that just kind of.
Oh yeah, that's no, never do that. Never do that.
It'll be interesting to see how that all ends.
Before we wrap up, how do you feel about this current March Madness? The brackets we've got left. Are your brackets still in play? Let's start there.
No. I don't think anyone's brackets is still in play.
I mean, all your picks are gone.
No, not all. I think North Carolina is going to win the whole thing.
Yes. Okay, we're on the same page.
Before the tournament started, I had no idea, who could win the whole thing. But I've always been kind of a low key North Carolina fan. I like their length. I like their guard play. I went to the Kentucky North Carolina game, and they were impressive. They were very impressive. But it's a crazy March Madness.
Definitely. I mean, I think
it's good though.
It's good
for college basketball.
Definitely good for college basketball. It's amazing to see some of these games. I mean, it's nice when you have the competition like it is. I mean, I think with the lack of upsets in that first round or so, it kind of made for these great games, which led to even bigger upsets coming in the second round. So.
Exciting basketball.
Exciting basketball. Well,
just looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, all I can say is we really appreciate you coming and talking to us. Please let our listeners know how they can find you, how they can find the West Coast Basketball or West Coast Rebels. Give us your information, please.
You can hit me up on Instagram at Dedan Thomas, or you can hit us up on WestCoast_basketball as well. And we're at Hoop City over here, 7770 South Dean Martin.
Here in Las Vegas. 15. Right on.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks again to Dedan for joining us. Before we wrap up, we got a little bit of NBA news, right, Steph?
Yeah, Russell Westbrook is vowing to become the first NBA player since the great Oscar Robertson in the 61-62 season to average a triple-double.
He's had 30. He said, I think he's on number 34. He's had 34 triple doubles this season, which is crazy.
He's averaging 31.4 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 10.3 assists.
That's insane. James Harden even has 19 triple. It's like the year of triple doubles. It's major right now.
You think James Harden is going to get the MVP?
He's deserving of it.
The guy does not want to rest. Can we talk about resting players?
Yeah, can we talk about the players that are resting? Here's the deal. We all know the San Antonio Spurs are they made resting happen. They began this whole Popovich started
old.
It. And they're also old. But guess what? All of his players, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, they've all been in the league for 15, 20 years. And maybe that's because of the resting. I don't know. But James Harden hasn't rested. He doesn't want to rest. He wants to play.
He wants to stay in the game.
LeBron James, not so much. He wants to have a game or two, he says, here and there, which I don't think, hey, I get it if you have like 5 games back to back, but when people are paying money and the people that pay the money to see these, to watch your games are the same people that help keep the league alive and help pay your wages, you should be showing up. You should be playing. If not the whole game, at least for like the first quarter.
I agree.
At least. And if it's because they're saving you because playoffs are coming and you guys are made it to the playoffs, I understand. NFL does that for like the week before, the weeks leading up to the playoffs. I get that. But not right now. I mean, we're not quite there yet. I mean, it's still a battle for first or second or whatever seed you get in the playoffs.
Speaking of the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Dwayne Wade
for the Bulls
is out for the season with a fractured elbow. It is almost guaranteed that the Bulls are very likely not going to make it to the playoffs.
So sad. I love
They are,
Bulls.
I believe, still 10th place in the Eastern Conference.
And they lost last night, too.
Yeah, and you know what? They're right behind the Pistons, who I think they're playing tonight. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But, I think it's actually good for the Bulls because now the younger players will have larger roles. They'll have more opportunities to step it up and make plays for the offense. They're going to get a better draft pick if they don't make it to the playoffs. And, well, I have a feeling that Coach Hoiberg will not be returning for another season.
Do you think Dwayne Wade will be returning? That's the question.
I don't know, man. They're talking about him going back to Miami.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What else is crazy? I don't know if you guys watched the Warriors OKC game on Monday. But Steph Curry and Samaj Kristen, they both got double technicals for this jump ball brawl. Here's the deal. Steph was out of his mind. Samaj was already set in his spot for the jump ball, and Steph comes up and just kind of scoots him back, oh, this is my spot.
Rookie, move it,
basically. And it caused a little brawl, and then of course Russell Westbrook gets into it, and then of course Draymond Green gets into it because Draymond's not going to not be in any kind of brawl. He's going to of course get in the middle of it. So double text for everybody.
Taj Gibson handled business.
Oh yeah,
man, he's doing some things since leaving Chicago. He's actually averaging 8.8 points for OKC, 4.5 rebounds, and they are 8-5 since acquiring him. 5-1 with him in the starting lineup.
To leave? Oh gosh. Anyways, that's how it goes. How's your Lakers?
Man. Well, there is some good news. I mean, outside of them fighting, I guess right. Tensions are really high right now.
That was a major brawl.
So great.
Oh, gosh.
There is some good news.
Yeah?
D'Angelo Russell has the best game of his career against the Cavs on Sunday night. He scored 40 points, and he is the youngest player in Lakers history. He's 21 years and some days to reach that scoring mark. So he set a record.
Well, kudos to you, D'Angelo.
And actually, in that game, also, Tristan Thompson suffered a mouth injury. Julius Randle gave him an elbow to the face. I'm blaming the Kardashians. They were there.
Always blame the Kardashians.
They were there. And supposedly, Khloe had a ring on her ring finger.
Oh, God.
And I'm blaming her for being at the game. For
the Kardashian hoes. Anyways, well, congrats to them. Womp womp. Real quick, in a moment, I don't know if you caught it, but there was a Ghanaian soccer star for South Africa, Mohamed Anas, who was having a little interview because he was named the man of the match, and he mistakenly thinks his wife and his girlfriend. Wow.
Then tried to cover up with saying how much he loves his wife.
Hilarious were the tweets the day after that were like, I hope anyone check on Mohamed Anas. Is he still alive? Anyone find, search parties were out from his wife. All kinds of stuff. It was crazy.
And now he's trying to say that his girlfriend is actually his daughter. That's what he calls his daughter. Just
right.
No,
I'm sorry. As a father, you never call your daughter your girlfriend, ever. So keep that in wraps. And a couple odd moments. First of all, we talked about the Bulls a little bit today. So a major rest in peace, Jerry Krause. He passed away on Tuesday. He was the Bulls GM during their dynasty days, the days for which made me the biggest Bulls fan that I could ever be. Those 90s. They had 6 championships. You can't beat that. You know what I mean? Also, Troy Capaign, I was watching this guy. I was really rooting for Cincinnati to win their games in the first round or second round. His mother, there was a story on her. They're from Virginia. She lives in the VA, and she drives 7 hours each way to go to each of his home games in Cincinnati.
I think it's very sweet that they do
7 hours, so
like
14 hours round trip. I mean, she was a single mother, raised a good-looking guy who's, 20, 21. But, yeah, so shout out to her. Shout out to the family. I mean, that's dedication. That's 14-hour drives every weekend or every home game.
I read an article how since he was a single or only child that he loves his team members like brothers because that's something that he never had. Very sweet.
Yes. So we still think about you guys even though you're at the tournament. Anyways, before we wrap up, shout out to everybody out there. Hopefully there's not too much more craziness happening in the brackets, or hopefully there is if you picked an underdog. I'm going with UNC as well, just like our guest. Do you have any pick?
I just want it to be some good basketball.
Some good basketball. Well, that's it. Please make sure you check us out at GirlChatSports on all social media. Find us on Podomatic and YouTube if you're listening.
You can find me on all social media platforms, S_Wash.
And you can find me, Seattle_4_life. Seattle for life. Catch you guys later. Thanks again to Dedan for joining us. Before we wrap up, we got a little bit of NBA news, right, Steph?
Yeah, Russell Westbrook is vowing to become the first NBA player since the great Oscar Robertson in the 61-62 season to average a triple-double.
He's had 30. I think he's on number 34. He's had 34 triple doubles this season, which is crazy.
He's averaging 31.4 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 10.3 assists.
That's insane. James Harden even has 19 triple. It's like the year of triple doubles. It's major right now.
You think James Harden is going to get the MVP?
You know, he's deserving of it.
The guy does not want to rest. Can we talk about resting players?
Yeah, can we talk about the players that are resting? Here's the deal. We all know the San Antonio Spurs are they made resting happen. They began this whole. Popovich started
old.
it. And they're also old. But guess what? All of his players, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, they've all been in the league for 15, 20 years. And maybe that's because of the resting. I don't know. But James Harden hasn't rested. He doesn't want to rest. He wants to play.
He wants to stay in the game.
LeBron James, not so much. He wants to have a game or two, he says, here and there, which I don't think, hey, I get it if you have 5 games back to back, but when people are paying money and the people that pay the money to see these, to watch your games are the same people that help keep the league alive and help pay your wages, you should be showing up. You should be playing. If not the whole game, at least for the first quarter.
I agree.
At least. And if it's because they're saving you because playoffs are coming and you guys are made it to the playoffs, I understand. NFL does that for the week before, the weeks leading up to the playoffs. I get that. But not right now. I mean, we're not quite there yet. I mean, it's still a battle for first or second or whatever seed you get in the playoffs.
Speaking of the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Dwayne Wade
for the Bulls
is out for the season with a fractured elbow. It is almost guaranteed that the Bulls are very likely not going to make it to the playoffs.
So sad. I love
They
the
are,
Bulls.
I believe, still 10th place in the Eastern Conference.
And they lost last night, too.
Yeah, and you know what? They're right behind the Pistons, who I think they're playing tonight. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But, I think it's actually good for the Bulls because now the younger players will have larger roles. They'll have more opportunities to step it up and make plays for the offense. They're going to get a better draft pick if they don't make it to the playoffs. And, well, I have a feeling that Coach Hoiberg will not be returning for another season.
Do you think Dwayne Wade will be returning? That's the question.
I don't know, man. They're talking about him going back to Miami.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What else is crazy? I don't know if you guys watched the Warriors OKC game on Monday. But Steph Curry and Samaj Kristen, they both got double technicals for this jump ball brawl. Here's the deal. Steph was out of his mind. Samaj was already set in his spot for the jump ball, and Steph comes up and just kind of scoots him back, oh, this is my spot.
Rookie, move it,
basically. And it caused a little brawl, and then of course Russell Westbrook gets into it, and then of course Draymond Green gets into it because Draymond's not going to not be in any kind of brawl. He's going to of course get in the middle of it. So double text for everybody.
Taj Gibson handled business.
Oh yeah,
man, he's doing some things since leaving Chicago. He's actually averaging 8.9 4.8 points for OKC, 4.5 rebounds, and they are 8-5 since acquiring him. 5-1 with him in the starting lineup.
To leave? Oh gosh. Anyways, that's how it goes. How's your Lakers?
Man. Well, there is some good news. I mean, outside of them fighting, I guess like tensions are really high right now.
That was a major brawl.
So great.
Oh gosh.
There is some good news.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell has the best game of his career against the Cavs on Sunday night. He scored 40 points, and he is the youngest player in Lakers history. He's 21 years and some days to reach that scoring mark. So he set a record.
Well, kudos to you, D'Angelo.
And actually, in that game, also, Tristan Thompson suffered a mouth injury. Julius Randle gave him an elbow to the face. I'm blaming the Kardashians. They were there.
Always blame the Kardashians.
They were there. And supposedly, Khloe had a ring on her ring finger.
Oh, God.
And I'm blaming her for being at the game. For
the Kardashian hoes. Anyways, well, congrats to them. Womp womp. Real quick, in a moment, I don't know if you caught it, but there was a Ghanaian soccer star for South Africa, Mohamed Anas, who was having a little interview because he was named the man of the match, and he mistakenly thinks his wife and his girlfriend. Wow.
Then tried to cover up with saying how much he loves his wife.
Hilarious were the tweets the day after that were like, I hope anyone check on Mohamed Anas. Is he still alive? Anyone find, search parties were out from his wife. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It was crazy.
And now he's trying to say that his girlfriend is actually his daughter. That's what he calls his daughter. Just
right.
Quit
no,
already.
I'm sorry. As a father, you never call your daughter your girlfriend, like ever. So keep that in wraps. And a couple odd moments. First of all, we talked about the Bulls a little bit today. So a major rest in peace, Jerry Krause. He passed away on Tuesday. He was the Bulls GM during their dynasty days, the days for which made me the biggest Bulls fan that I could ever be. Those 90s. They had 6 championships. You can't beat that. You know what I mean? Also, Troy Capane, I was watching this guy. I was really rooting for Cincinnati to win their games in the first round or second round. His mother, there was a story on her. They're from Virginia. She lives in the VA, and she drives 7 hours each way to go to each of his home games in Cincinnati.
I think it's very sweet that they do
7 hours, so
like
14 hours round trip. I mean, she was a single mother, raised a good-looking guy who's, 20, 21. But, so shout out to her. Shout out to the family. I mean, that's dedication. That's 14-hour drives every weekend or every home game.
I read an article how since he was a single or only child that he loves his team members like brothers because that's something that he never had. Very sweet.
Yes. So we still think about you guys even though you're at the tournament. Anyways, before we wrap up, shout out to everybody out there. Hopefully there's not too much more craziness happening in the brackets, or hopefully there is if you picked an underdog. I'm going with UNC as well, just like our guest. Do you have any pick?
I just want it to be some good basketball.
Some good basketball. Well, that's it. Please make sure you check us out at GirlChatSports on all social media. Find us on Podomatic and YouTube if you're listening.
You can find me on all social media platforms, S_Wash.
And you can find me, Seattle, 4_life. Seattle for life. Catch you guys later. Thanks for checking out another great episode of Girl Chat Sports. And remember, we don't have balls, but we know how to cover them. Until next time, guys.